Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene. It's the feed, and it's the first feed of 2024. I'm here today with Ashley Cormack. Ashley is the owner of the Little Art Supply Store, one of the newest. I think you are the newest. Are you the newest downtown business?
I think so.
Yeah, one of the newest downtown businesses. So we'll have a great chat with Ashley in a minute, but let's do a little bit of community events. And yes, Mike is missing today because Mike decided to extend his New Year's Eve celebration for a few days. So that's all I'm going to say about that. At the Opera House this week is Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbook and Snakes. Don't really know what that means. I guess if you're a Hunger Games fan, you'll know what that is. So that runs Friday, January 5th through Tuesday, January 9th. The classic movie this week is Dr. Strangelove. That's, again, a true classic with Peter Sellers and George C. Scott. And that is sponsored by Chroma Technologies. And I think this might be one of the first times I've seen Chroma up as a sponsor. So kudos, Chroma, for sponsoring a classic movie. Ray Masuko concert series tickets. The pre-sale tickets are on sale now. I would highly recommend that you get in on the pre-sale. I know you're not going to know what the concerts are or when they are, but it's just fun to kind of be like, you've already bought these tickets, so you know you can go to these shows. You don't have to worry. You get a better selection of seating options, like, when you do the pre-sale. So I would highly recommend that you get your pre-sale tickets to the Ray Masuko concert series for 2024. The Rockingham Public Library is going to be celebrating kind of the whole total solar eclipse that's going to be happening on April 8th. So they're going to be having a series of programs around solar and solar eclipse. So the first program that they're going to have is on next Wednesday, January 10th. It's called Solar Science. So come to the library and view the sun safely using a solar telescope, sunoculars, and solar eclipse glasses, and learn about the exciting solar events happening this year and how to safely view them. So that's on Wednesday, January 10th at 12:30 p.m. at the Rockingham Free Public Library. Also a reminder that the Rockingham Free Public Library is doing their Fun Friday playgroups. Those happen every Friday from 10:30 to noon. So that is co-sponsored by both the library and Greater Falls Connections and Parks Place. And last but not least, a new event that the library is having is they're calling it Homeschool Libratory. Yeah, try saying that 10 times fast. Libratory. Happening starting January 16th, every Tuesday morning from 10:30 to 12. And they have many other programs, and we're hoping that we can schedule a time to have Sam come and talk to us a little bit more in depth about all of these programs that are happening at the library. So Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up here. Went to high school in Bellows Falls.
What were you telling me before? You were one of the...
I was one of the last babies born at the hospital in this building. They closed shortly after.
It's a claim to fame, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think my being born here was why they closed, though.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, well, true. We want to make it a claim to fame and not you were then in the hospital.
Yes.
Good point.
But then I went to art school down in Boston. I was a high school teacher for 11 years. And I got married, had my own kid, and I felt like I was spending all of my time away from home doing school events. And I loved teaching, but I wanted to be home a little bit more. So I started the Little Art Supply Store in 2021 in Chester. And I had it set up at first, so I was still teaching. Mm-hmm. And after school, I'd have the store for a couple hours and a few hours on the weekends, to the point where I felt like, okay, I can just do this. And it was nice because once I started doing the store full time, I could walk my son to school every day, and sometimes I could pick him up, where I could close the store on school events and things like that.
You had a better work-life balance.
Yes. And I get to talk to so many more artists, which is great.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. And being able to answer people's questions about art like throughout the day, and I don't know, it's a nice community connection for me.
So so in 2021 you were in Chester,
Mm-hmm.
and then you came down here, and you said August.
August of this year. Yeah.
So what prompted your decision to move down to Bellows Falls?
I liked my space in Chester, but it was called the Little Art Supply Store because it was very little, tiny. I couldn't fit a bunch of stuff that I wanted to carry, and I really wanted to do lessons, and I didn't have lesson space. So one day my husband and I were at the Flatiron, and we're looking out the window, and I saw a sign saying, "For lease." So I called them up, and the space ended up being great.
I was gonna say it's a good size space because it's not so big, but it's big enough.
Yes, it's big enough for the retail and lessons and storage and.
So we actually have a video, so maybe this would be a good time so people can see, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about what we've seen in your classes and stuff. That is definitely a lot. That's a good space.
Yes.
I've been in, but I missed, and I looked around quite a bit, but I missed. You've got a lot of stuff in there.
Yes, yeah.
Pens.
So many pens, and I mean everybody loves a good, like, especially like a glittery jelly roll pen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like you had. You have like the traditional art supplies, but it looks like you maybe had a lot of things for kids.
Yes, I mean kids art supplies. They're so much fun, and I like to test the products before I stock them, and there's quite a few things I've recommended to adults from the kids section because, I mean, just because they're for kids doesn't mean they're not good or fun. Yeah.
Now, what were you doing with the eye screen?
So another thing that I do, my husband and I, we do comic books. So my husband illustrates comic books, and I will do a lot of his coloring as well. And so one of the things I've been talking to people about is doing one-on-one lessons for people who want to learn more about digital art. And yeah, it's just another
like if
another
somebody
fun thing to do.
that's how you do the comic books now. It's a digital medium.
Yep. Yeah.
I got to think that there's got to be people out there that would be totally into that.
Yes. I know I have a few people lined up for later in the spring for some one-on-one lessons for just digital art, and even like people who bought Cricuts and don't know how to use their like Cricut cutting machines and need tech support for that kind of thing. So
Nice.
trying to work more technology into art as well.
How was your first holiday season in Bellows Falls?
It was so nice. I didn't know what to expect, but so many people came in, and I don't know, it was great being able to help people like pick out presents. And I've already had some like kids come in who got gift cards for Christmas,
Oh,
and
nice.
watching them get so excited to like spend their own money in the store has been really sweet.
It's kind of like, this just popped into my head. It's something that we didn't know we didn't have, and we didn't know would be good to have, and now we have it. So it's like, woo, because I was just thinking there's not a lot of, other than the bookstore, there's not a lot of super kid friendly places in downtown Bellows Falls,
Yeah.
really. I'm trying to like think through everything. I mean, not to get a gift card and then go and spend it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, all age kids. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're going to start, or you have started, or you're going to start doing classes?
I've started doing classes. Yeah, those started in November. So far, we've just been doing drawing and watercolor. As I figure out what more people want, then I'll be adding to those as well. But yeah, this month I have, I think, 4 watercolor classes and 2 drawing classes.
And you do them right in
the store,
space.
yeah. And it's set up right now, so you don't need to bring any supplies. I have all the supplies. You just show up and
is it literally, do you have different, I don't know what, levels, or is it everybody beginner and then?
I have different levels right now. The watercolor for beginners has been the most popular sign up so far, but I have some more advanced watercolor classes as well. Like I did one on color mixing last month. That was a little bit more in depth, but well received.
Nice. And so this is just my noviceness, so you walk in and you're going to a watercolor class, like what does that look like? Like I know zero about like even watercolors, acrylics. I mean,
watercolor for beginners, I go over why we use certain kinds of paper, why we use certain kind of brushes, or even like if you buy a new watercolor brush, you're going to think it's a little stiff and maybe something's wrong with it, and that's just how it's shipped, and you have to wash your brush first, because some people don't know that, and how much water to use, how much color to use. So for beginners, it's really for absolute beginners.
and then do you get to choose what you're painting, or are you all painting the same thing? How does that work?
We go over some basic techniques, and then the last chunk of time, I'll give some options of what to paint. Usually for beginners, I will bring in some fruit because, like I always say, an apple, anybody can paint because it's just a badly drawn circle. So
True.
it's simple enough, but there's a little bit of challenge with the color and things like that. Yeah.
Nice. Have you gotten any, have you had anybody yet that you've been like, oh, wow, this person's really talented?
Yes.
You have? Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Which has been nice to see. And I think it's been nice for them too, because a few people have already done like online classes, but there's no feedback with online classes. So I think they were a little surprised to like look around and see like, oh, I am actually pretty good at this already. So it was.
And then do you have, then you offer the advanced versions too? Or?
Yes. So this month I have a still life watercolor class and a landscape watercolor class as well. And right now they're just one shot. So we just meet once for 1 or 2 hours and then it's done. But in the spring, when I don't have to worry about snow and cancellation,
Yeah,
I'll be doing multi-part.
Okay, so like
Yeah.
you learn this week, and then we move on
Yep.
to that. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're advertising, so if people want to know where to find this information, what's the easiest way for them to find it?
On the website.
Okay.
Yep.
So littleartsupplystore.com.
Little art supply store.
Little Art Supply Store, sorry, littleartsupplystore.com. And they can contact you if they need to sign. Is there a sign up?
Yes, you
like,
can
block?
sign up in the store or you can sign up online. Either one gives me all of your contact info. So,
And you mentioned that you get to talk to artists now. So I think this is a pretty good art community,
yes,
right?
yes,
A lot of people.
a lot of artists in Bellows Falls, which is really nice to see because I don't know if there have always been a lot of artists in Bellows Falls and I just didn't know it before, or if they just slowly.
I'm always kind of surprised at that too. I know that I think a lot of them have always been here. It just wasn't like they didn't like wear, I'm an artist t-shirts or whatever.
That would be helpful.
That would be helpful. It would. Then you could know, and you could just market to them, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. I know that we seem to attract artists to this area, and we seem to have. I mean, there's a Canal Street Gallery, and like art venues in the area. So again, I don't know which came first, chicken or the egg. The artists were here, and then they started painting, and the venues came, or the venues were here, and then they came. I mean, that's good. Do you find that you have more of that kind of traffic here than you maybe did in Chester, or was it harder because it was a smaller space in Chester?
It was hard because it was a smaller space in Chester, and I did definitely have like local artists that were regulars. But it was also quite a bit of tourist business as well. We're in Bellows Falls. I feel like it's mostly locals. Which is always nice to see a familiar face coming in again and again and again. Yeah.
And I might be getting this wrong. There's something that you're carrying that Charlie Hunter, was it reasonably good?
Oh, his brush cleaner?
Yes. Reasonably good brush.
Reasonably good brush cleaner. Yes. And we also carry some of his stickers that he makes and a sketchbook of his.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I just think that's funny because that's very Charlie.
Yes.
Reasonably good. Now, you also there's an online component, right? People can they buy anything that's in the store online as well?
Yes.
Or is it somewhat? Okay.
Yes. If they're doing like pickup, they can buy anything. Shipping, it's just like the really big canvases.
That's true. That'd be a little bit hard to.
Yeah, that's hard for me to ship because I don't get really good shipping discounts. But like smaller things, I know there are some like people would come up on vacation to the Chester location, and sometimes they'll see something online and they'll still order it from me, and I'll send it wherever they came from. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's good that you have that component. So if somebody, like you said, they come and they stop in the store and they're like, oh gosh, I really need this, but I don't have time to run because maybe they're in Walpole or something like that. I don't have time to run over. You can ship it.
Yep.
Awesome. So what do you see as maybe new growth things? I mean, I know it's new, but what are you hoping, like what's your big goal to add?
Right now, I just want to work on expanding the inventory. I'm getting to know what the local artists are liking more. So I have like a big new brush display that should be coming sometime this week or next week. I really want to expand the printmaking section and oil paints. So that's, I feel like, where I'm going to be focusing. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because it's true. You until you knew who your audience was, you couldn't know what you really needed to have.
Yeah. And my favorite thing is when somebody emails me and says, I use this product, this brand, these colors. Can you stock it? And I'll say, yes, absolutely, because then I know that there's a market for whatever I'm ordering.
Yeah, versus, I wonder how this is going to sell.
Yeah, a lot of times I'm just like, well, I think it looks neat. Like, I guess I'll have this. It's same with like the stickers. If I think something's pretty or funny, I'm like, oh, just see how these stickers do.
And it looked like you had some cards.
Yes.
And it looks like you have the books that have the pictures that you can, I can't remember what they're called. You can color them in.
Oh, just like the adult coloring books?
Yes.
And I try to find things that are a little bit different as far as like coloring books go, because there are other places where you can get some simpler ones. And for the greeting cards and stickers, I ordered those through like independent artists.
Okay.
So I know it's not necessarily like a big mass-produced thing that you can find at like a drugstore.
Okay.
So it's something a little bit unique.
I thought so because saw some of the cards. I'm like, those look cute.
Yeah.
And that's really good to know. So when you're sending that kind of card, you're sending a personal card.
Yes.
And then you can get a fun pen.
And you can
to sign your personal card.
Yes. Yeah. And people will sometimes be like, oh, I hope you don't mind, but I just tested like all of your pens. I said, no, I'm happy that you're so excited. It took you 20 minutes to figure out what was the best pen for this.
You're just preaching to the choir on that one. I love pens. So if people, even if people aren't necessarily looking for art supplies, or you have some unique gift opportunities.
Yes.
The gift certificates for kids. That's a great idea. Get kids started early. Do you do any kid classes yet, or not yet?
Not yet. I haven't been able to figure out exactly how that would work, just with like kids with paint and merchandise so close by.
Plus up timing, right? Because, I mean, I guess in the summer it wouldn't matter, but right now it's
Yeah.
probably a little hard to figure out. I don't know, what are your store hours, by the way?
Typically 10 to 5, closed on Mondays.
Okay. It's just, I was just thinking that, you know, kids have like so many things going on after school. It would be hard to do an after school type class. And
Yes.
then weekends, I think, are even busy for kids now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. That would be
Yeah.
probably harder to.
I'm trying to figure it out because my son, who's 7, said, "Mom, I want to take one of your classes."
Mm-hmm.
So I'll figure out something, but I'm not sure what yet.
Yeah, I just think nurturing, and you'll hear a lot of local artists talk about this, just nurturing kids and having, getting them started early with something like that, something creative, I think is important.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you taught.
Yeah.
Yes, so you get it. You were also saying that, because Mike and I, at the very, we were talking about season, and one of them was the Parade of Lights, and you said that after the
Yes. Yeah. I really didn't know how. I've never been to the Parade of Lights. I mean, it was an amazing parade. But then afterwards, it's like everyone just filtered right into the store, and a lot of people were just like, "I didn't know this was here," and they looked around, and then they came back a few days later. But it was nice for me as a store owner that this event pulled so many people into town.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, that was kind of the topic. So it's good to hear it from a store owner, that what Mike and I were talking about was the fact that there's all these people that are just doing these events because they want to have the events, and then the kind of unintended consequences, but the good unintended consequences are it gives visibility to the merchants.
Yeah.
Because people, yeah, I didn't know you were here, and now they do, and now they know to shop there. And you were saying that it's a little confusing if someone's trying to Google your location. So what's the easiest way to give someone like just basic directions?
Usually I tell people we're across from the Flatiron.
That's
the easiest.
Because the
easiest
Flatiron's
way.
got the visible sign.
Yes.
You said you have a sign coming, but
Yeah. I say go into the Flatiron, grab something to eat, then come across the street and do some shopping.
Or you can, if you get the right table in Flatiron, you could just sit and watch it.
Yes.
Yeah, watch them shop. That's perfect. So we're getting a little bit low on time. So if you just want to remind people of your email address, your website, any classes that are immediately coming up,
Okay.
and how to connect to those classes and how to best connect with you.
So the website is littleartsupplystore.com. Email is littleartsupplystore@gmail.com. Try to keep it simple. Upcoming classes, I think the beginner watercolor class is full, but we'll have more in February. But we have a charcoal drawing class coming up, beginner drawing class, and a landscape watercolor class all coming up this month. And you can find info about that on the website.
Or they can come into the store.
Or they can come into the store, and I can even like give advice on what class to sign up for.
Nice. Great. So I think that, unless do you have anything else you want the audience to know about the Little Art Supply Store?
No, I think that covers it.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and I'm excited that you moved down and you found it a good reception.
Yes.
Let's put it that way, and that you're busy and that you're offering classes, and I really do think it's great that there's another store in town that's kid oriented, that you can get a gift certificate for kids too, or that was I think that's a bonus. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I think that's a great bonus. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure you stop by and see Ashley at the Little Art Supply Store, even if you only want to buy a pen or card
Or sticker.
or Charlie's reasonably good brush cleaner if you're an artist. Next week we are hoping that we'll have the Rockingham Library, and then the following week we will have Sojourn's back with her Sojourn Spotlight. They have a new massage therapist, and she will be joining us to talk about what she's doing at Sojourn's and the massage therapy. Thank you, community. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and